So is Sweden really safer now after joining NATO? I mean, that's the question on everyone's mind.
Yeah, it's a big one.
It is. And luckily, we've got some seriously insightful analysis to help us figure this out. Rivyona, a multilingual media network that's always on top of these global issues.
They always have their finger on the pulse, don't they?
They do. They really do.
Yeah.
Especially with everything going on in the world right now. Ukraine, global tensions rising, it feels like.
And Sweden's right in the thick of it, too.
Exactly. Right there in the Baltic region.
Just shouldn't get much more strategic than that.
Nope. So Rivyona digs right into the heart of it. They're asking, has Sweden actually become safer since joining NATO? Like, how exactly?
Well, it's really fascinating how NATO membership completely changes things for Sweden. You've got the collective defense principle, an attack on one NATO member, it's an attack on all of them. And in this current climate...
That's a huge deterrent.
Huge.
Like they suddenly have this giant security blanket.
Yeah.
Right? They're not facing threats alone anymore.
Exactly, but it's not just about stopping like a traditional military invasion.
Right. Things are getting more complicated these days.
Way more complicated.
Look at what happened with those underwater cables in the Baltic Sea.
Oh, yeah.
Damage.
That whole thing really highlights the changing nature of conflict, what we call hybrid warfare.
Okay, so hybrid warfare, what exactly are we talking about here?
It's like this blend of conventional and unconventional tactics designed to disrupt and destabilize, but without actually going to full-blown war. You know,
I think so.
Cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns,
got it.
Economic pressure. It's a way of waging conflict in the shadows.
So instead of tanks and troops, it's malware and fake news?
Yeah, you could say that.
And that sounds a lot harder to defend against.
It really is.
So even with NATO, worried should Sweden be about this hybrid warfare stuff?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? Mats Knutson, he's a political commentator from SVT, and he thinks the risk of like a straight-up military conflict, it's definitely gone down because of NATO.
Okay, but there's a but coming, isn't there?
Well, even Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson admits Sweden's kind of in this, I don't know, gray zone right now.
Not at war, but not peace either.
Yeah, something like that.
So like a security limbo?
You could put it that way.
And it makes sense when you think about where Sweden is.
Right in the middle of it all.
The Baltic region is
a total geopolitical hotspot.
Okay, and then you've got Carl-Oskar Bolin, Sweden's Minister for Civil Defense. He's been talking a lot about the possibility of war. Some people are calling him a fearmonger even.
Oh, wow.
I mean, isn't that a little extreme? Especially with what we just heard about NATO and this whole gray zone thing.
It's definitely sparked a debate, but the key here is Bolin's argument. He's saying preparedness is absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
And honestly, the war in Ukraine has been a major wake-up call for everyone.
It's like he's saying don't get complacent just because you're in NATO. Be ready for anything.
Exactly. He thinks relying only on traditional defense might not be enough anymore. Not with all these new threats.
Okay, so Sweden's got that big NATO shield now. But they're already quietly getting ready for the shadows, too.
That's right. And that preparedness goes way beyond just what the government does. It means individual